Hi, and welcome to this video about how to fit a Vittoria Airliner tubeless insert. So the first thing you need to do is to remove the wheel you're going to put it in. I'm putting it in the rear wheel here. So first of all, lock out the rear mech, turn off the clutch mech if you've got a Shimano system, and remove the wheel from the bike. You're going to need to work on the wheel, so you need to put it somewhere flat. I find using the top of a bin is quite handy because it means I don't have to remove the cassette or worry about bending the disc rotor. So let all the air out of the tyre at the moment. This tyre is a particularly difficult one. It's a hookless bead rim, and if you've got one of these you know how difficult it is to actually get the tyre off the rim. It seats so well, it's really hard. I have to use my full body weight, as you can see there, and actually sometimes even that doesn't work. See people on YouTube clips doing all this with their bare hands. I think I would defy them to do that with these rims and that tyre. So here's the Airliner insert. It's this fantastically luminous green bit of foam. In the bag you get a cable tie. It's just an ordinary cable tie, but you keep it safe. And then you need to measure and cut it to fit, to make sure that it fits around your wheel. The easiest way to do that is wrap it around the wheel and either mark and then cut, or what I'm doing here is just, I've got the knife in my hand, so I'll just make a mark with a knife so I know where to cut in just a minute. The ends do need to meet, otherwise you'll have a gap in the insert, and that will mean you've got a bit of a space there that could knock the rim if you're going to use it. I should add that I've been using one of these in my hardtail for quite a few months now. I've been really impressed with the performance, which is why I'm putting in the full sus. So once you cut it to size, pierce some holes in the middle with ready for the cable tie. You can see there are two channels, one on the outside, one on the inside, and there are some holes already in the insert there to allow the tubeless sealant to flow from the inside when you put it in through the valve to the outside where it's going to roll around the tyre and seal any holes. So you can see there I've not done the cable tie, I'm just hooking it on there just to check that it's exactly meeting. You can see you've pretty much got it spot on there. Then you've got the slightly difficult part of getting the tyre back on the rim. So the best way to do that is to put the tyre insert, the Vittoria insert, into the tyre already. I don't cut the cable tie, I leave it there, it's not going to hurt anything. I'd rather not have any sharp edges on the inside of my tyre. And then you've got to get it onto the rim. Now getting the first edge on is not too hard. Again, I tend to use a tyre lever. I watch people on YouTube doing this with their bare hands and I can never manage it. I don't think I've got particularly weak hands, but I can never do it. The difficult part then is once you're trying to get the second bead on, because normally you'd want to push the bead that's on and the bead that you get on, the second bead, to the channel in the middle of the wheel. But obviously now you've got this big foam insert in there, so it's a lot harder to do that. So I was able to do it to start with, but again I needed to use a bit of body weight to really lever the outside of the tyre on. I was able to do it with just one tyre lever and a bit of manipulation, but it proved quite tricky, as you can see here. It took me a while. I was trying to do it slowly. Some of you will be looking at this thinking, goodness me, how are you standing or putting your body weight on a carbon rim? They're really, really strong, and if you watch a couple of other videos, Ali Clarkson has shown building wheels and actually standing on the spokes to stretch the weight, to stress them, pre-stress them while he's building the wheel, so the wheel can take it. Once you've got the tyre on, you just need to go all the way around and make sure the bead is seated in the middle. And then what I do with all the wheels I have is to inflate them tubeless first of all before putting any sealant in, to make sure they actually seat and seal. So you can see I've got my air shot just attached to my my pump there. Release it, and then you'll hear there the air actually going in and the bead seating. Once it's seated, it pretty much stays there because it's this hookless bead design. So then I take the pump off and I'm adding a little bit of tubeless sealant here with a syringe, and then again pump it up again. But because it's already seated, all I need to do really is I can put the valve core back in after I've put the sealant in and just pump it up with a normal track pump. This stage, letting the sealant through is really important, because all you're doing is actually letting the sealant and the particles within the sealant run through the little holes in the inner channel so that it goes to the outside of the wheel. I found that quite tricky. I was using Stan's race sealant, which has got the really big crystals in it, which is fantastic for sealing flats really quickly when you're riding over really rough ground. But I found that the crystals they're too big, they don't go through the little holes to the outside of the wheel. So I went back initially to using the original Stans, and in this wheel I've now got the finish line. It says it doesn't evaporate, it's not ammonia based. Thanks for watching.